Behind the thick curtain of ferns, a faint whimper echoed. It wasn't the bark of a dog, nor the growl of a wild beast, but the cry of a fragile little life, trembling between survival and death. The story begins with something most people would dismiss: a stray dog, carrying scraps of food into the woods every single day, disappearing behind the green foliage. Villagers noticed it but shook their heads, calling the dog foolish or bewitched. But one late afternoon, as the last golden rays of sunlight pierced the trees, the truth revealed itself. No one in the village could have imagined what the dog had been protecting all along. And when the secret was finally uncovered, it left the entire community in stunned silence. Stay until the very end of this story, because only then will you understand why one small dog's devotion could forever change the way we see loyalty and love. This story took place on the outskirts of Colorado in the United States. There, endless pine forests stretch across the mountains, with dark green ferns blanketing the ground, creating a picture of raw, untouched wilderness. The central figure was Max, a 5-year-old shepherd mix. Once adopted by a farming family, he had lived a stable life until a storm destroyed their home, leaving Max to wander as a stray near the village. The locals grew used to seeing him gentle, quiet, never a nuisance. But recently, people noticed something unusual. Max would snatch bits of bread or scraps of meat, then trot into the forest and vanish behind the ferns, as if he were on a secret mission no human could understand. One morning, an elderly neighbor named Henry spotted Max again. The dog was carrying a small bundle of food, trotting straight into the woods. Curious, Henry decided to follow. The old man didn't believe in superstitions, but the image of Max disappearing behind dense ferns unsettled him. He pushed forward, crunching leaves underfoot, following faint paw prints. Then, in a small clearing where sunlight slipped through, he heard the soft, pitiful whimper of something young, abandoned. Henry's heartbeat quickened. He parted the ferns, and there, lying in the shadows, was something that froze him in place. 2 glowing green eyes, weak but piercing, stared back at him. They belonged to a creature Henry never expected to see with his own eyes. Henry stumbled backward in shock. Before him lay a tiger cub, its striped golden coat, matted, body frail, pressing against the earth for warmth. "A tiger here?" he whispered. Fear surged through him. Where there was a cub, surely the mother wasn't far away. Rumors had circulated that exotic tigers once escaped from a private reserve in the Rockies, but most dismissed them as stories. Henry's instinct screamed, "Leave now, don't get involved." He turned to walk away. Yet, the image of Max, faithfully bringing scraps of food to this hidden corner of the woods, haunted him. Could it be that the dog already knew what no human could? That behind the danger lay something worth protecting? The thought gnawed at him, refusing to let go. That night, Henry couldn't sleep. The weak cries and the gleaming eyes in the ferns replayed in his mind. He remembered Max's past, how the dog once chased off foxes to protect farmers' chickens. Max never acted without purpose. The next morning, Henry carried water and scraps of meat back into the forest. He found Max curled beside the cub, wagging his tail softly, as if to reassure it. The tiny tiger lifted its head with effort, eyes following every movement of food. Henry's chest tightened. "It's just a child," he whispered. "A child waiting for a chance to live." And in that moment, he knew he and Max would do what no one else dared. From that day on, Henry returned to the clearing with Max. He brought water and small portions of food, setting them down carefully before stepping back. At first, the cub trembled, hesitant, but soon it licked the water, then nibbled at the food. Max stayed close, gently nudging the cub with his nose, as if whispering, "You're safe now." Henry knew the risk. If the mother appeared, his life could end in a heartbeat. But each visit revealed small changes. The cub's eyes brighter, its movements stronger. Walking home along the forest path, Henry realized something profound. Compassion was not always guided by logic. Sometimes, it was simply the instinct to keep another fragile life alive, no matter the danger. And so, an old man and a stray dog became unlikely guardians of a tiger cub hidden in the ferns. It didn't take long for rumors to spread. Villagers saw Henry carrying food into the forest with Max faithfully at his side. A few curious young men followed and caught a glimpse of the cub. Terrified, they ran back, shouting warnings. "Henry, you're mad. When it grows up, it will kill us all," they cried. Whispers filled the town. Some demanded the authorities be called, that the cub should be hunted down before disaster struck. Fear clashed with outrage. But then people noticed Max, the little dog who never wavered, who carried food day after day, his tail wagging with purpose. Some began to question their fear. Could it be that this animal, dismissed as a stray, saw something deeper? Henry stayed silent. He didn't argue. He knew the cub's survival was its own answer, and Max was the proof. One late afternoon, just as Henry placed down a basket of food, a thunderous roar shattered the silence. The forest froze. From the shadows emerged a full-grown tigress, her striped coat gleaming, her amber eyes blazing as they locked on Henry. His body stiffened with terror. This was the moment he had feared. Max barked furiously, but didn't attack. He simply stood in front of Henry, shielding him. Then, the cub staggered forward, pressing against its mother's legs, before turning its gaze back to Henry and Max, its eyes pleading softly. The tigress lowered her head, her stare lingering on the dog and the man. For a breathless moment, the forest held its breath. Then, without a sound, she nudged the cub gently, and together they melted back into the forest's shadows, leaving Henry trembling in stunned silence. After that day, the tigress never returned. Perhaps she understood Henry and Max were not enemies. The cub grew stronger, its coat sleek and eyes bright. It often lingered near the forest edge, waiting for Max. Villagers, once fearful, began to gather silently to watch. Instead of claws and fangs, they saw a bond. The dog and the tiger cub side by side, sometimes napping together in the golden light. Slowly, fear gave way to wonder. Some whispered that perhaps the forest had chosen Max as its guardian. Others simply stood in awe. Henry said nothing. He only smiled, knowing that kindness often required no explanation. And here, a stray dog had shown an entire community what patience and compassion could achieve. Max had become the bridge between fear and understanding, between man and nature. Years later, when Henry's hair had turned white, he still remembered the first time the cub lifted its fragile head, its emerald eyes glowing with silent gratitude. That memory never left him. Max lived out his days as more than a stray. Though no statue was built for him and no title awarded, he became something greater. In the hearts of those who knew the story, he was proof that loyalty and kindness need no recognition. They shine on their own. The tale of the dog who carried food into the forest was passed down like a quiet legend. Whenever it was told, the villagers would fall silent, honoring the secret that once lived among the ferns. And if you think this story is the most miraculous, then you haven't heard about the man who discovered a stray dog keeping a lost tiger cub warm in the snow, and the shocking thing the mother tiger did afterward. Don't miss that story, waiting just beside this one.